Yeah, I am
pale.
pasty pale.
Pasty pale.
But then this.
There's something sick, something wrong with you.
Then
kinda.
this.
Then I get a nice tan.
Yeah, it looks fantastic, by the way. You
Thank
wear it well.
Like I was hoping it would be the old tan, take 6 pounds off.
Took 16 pounds off.
Actually, I lost weight on this
Yeah, it looked
trip.
damn good, dude.
But have we talked since my race, the 85 miles? I went to New York.
Did we talk once?
Yeah, I can't remember.
It's hard to remember. I don't know. What did we do yesterday? What did I have for dinner?
I know what I did yesterday.
What did I have for breakfast?
I was flying. I had oatmeal for breakfast. That I remember.
I don't remember that stuff. He's got a better memory than me.
No. That's only because my brain hasn't been filled up with all kinds of great stuff at the moment. But
Keith is back. Keith is back. Keith is back. Judah Wickower, we're ready to rock and roll when you're ready.
I wish somebody.
I missed you.
I wish somebody in my family was very happy that I showed up.
Is everyone as happy in your family as I am that you're back?
No.
Or are most people like,
Shit, he's back.
What did Pop and your mom say?
Good. You know, whereas we know we're a little worried about them on their health and their journey, but the rest of my brothers and sisters stepped up and did a great job taking care of mom and dad when we're gone.
I love it.
That was a big concern.
Good job, guys. All right, let's rock and roll. People are eager for us to get on air. J-Dubs, let's rock.
Eager. So under 1 acre?
Yeah, I mean, we got a lot coming in.
All right, cool.
Quiet on the set.
Good Wednesday morning, guys. My name is Jerry Miller, and this is Real Talk with Keith Smith, one of my favorite talk shows in this world, ladies and gentlemen. Keith Smith is back on set. The camera's about to welcome him. He is sun-kissed. He's got a lot to offer. Keith Smith is invigorated. He's got some coffee in him, maybe a little bit of rum that he smuggled across the border. Keith Smith is back. Keith Smith is back. Let's welcome the distinguished gentleman to the program.
Smuggling is a strong word.
How would you say pilfer? Would you say
I brought in
bamboozle?
I probably brought in more than I was supposed to.
What would be the verb you would utilize there?
Enough. I brought enough.
I don't know if that's a verb, but we'll say enough.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, at least it's not an adjective because we got to figure out what that means.
We need.
I missed you, man.
I missed you too, buddy.
Love that shirt, though.
Thank you
good
kindly.
On you.
Thank you kindly. Tell us the highlights of the trip. Is it 37-year anniversary you celebrated?
That was our 37th wedding anniversary. We go to this little French Creole village called Grand Casse in the French West Indies, and we're very blessed. We get to go ahead and hang out with some French friends that we know that owns a little. I posted this morning. They bought a single-family detached home, turned it into 4 units. They live on the upper level, 2 apartments down below the lower level, and they built a little ADU auxiliary dwelling unit, 2-bedroom unit, and they rent 2 of them long-term, and one of them's an Airbnb, which we rented from them. And they happen to own a French restaurant and be a French chef, so we ate really well, and, life is good. If I didn't miss you so much, I don't know, I might have hung out there a little bit longer.
Oh, I'm surprised you came back.
No. It was enough. It gets to this little period of time that, only so much of awesomeness you can handle. It's now time to get back and get to work and help people. But we did quite a bit of work when we were down there. We taught a bunch of classes with KW. There's an international KW, Keller Williams unit down there, and we were invited to teach a bunch of classes. We did some coaching and mentoring with a great team down there, and so we kept our fingers in it. And I may or may not have been talking to the local government officials about missing middle. I may or may not have done that.
He's always a champion of the missing middle.
I'm always champion for missing middle and housing affordability. So we were talking about how do they solve their housing crisis for their frontline restaurant workers, right? Because it's a tourist area and there's lots of restaurants. It's the culinary capital of the Caribbean.
And how do they do it? Tell them.
Well, what they do is they incentivize it, and if you take a look at my post I did earlier this morning, they do everything from tax incentives, federal grants or loan grants, parking, everything we've been talking about. They've actually implemented it, and there's 2 units over there that they rent out to frontline restaurant workers. And in that case, they get to walk to the restaurant because it's a small little village. But yeah, it works out really good. It actually works.
Folks, look at the screen. Look how tan this man is.
Yeah, well, I wanted to beat you.
Judah, is he not tan?
I was. I was.
This is impressive.
Not that you and I are competitive by any.
Oh, we're very competitive.
But I wanted.
You win. Damn it.
I wanted to be a little bit darker than you. Let's say that.
He's got me right now. All right, my friend. I posted the stat. John Blair gave me the permission to share it. You're
Sure.
the expert.
Sure.
John Blair, I believe, watching the program as we speak. You got a number of your colleagues watching the program as we speak. I see Landon Saul, the owner of Vivace, watching the program
Ooh.
as we speak. Carly's
I
got
love
some
Vivace.
commentary from the KWA office.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it to you first. We'll go anywhere you want. This
Sure.
is a stat John sent us this morning. If you look on the MLS right now, there are only 2 individual buildable lots available for sale that are under 1 acre in Albemarle County. That's extremely low in my experience.
Yeah. It's interesting. Buildable lots are always difficult to find, and we mentioned this. We talked about this a little bit off air in our pre-production meeting that may have involved a bottle of rum.
Of course, of course.
But most of the lots that are smaller than an acre are typically in larger subdivisions, right? And they are typically controlled by either larger developers or larger builders, right? So the one-off lot has always been a little difficult to find in Albemarle County. If you go ahead and say, I don't want it in an HOA,
Yeah, good luck.
it's even harder.
Right.
So, yeah, it doesn't surprise me. Building, I think we talked about this before I went on my little sabbatical here. I don't even know what that word means.
No, I think you used it correctly.
Did I use it?
Very nicely done.
There you go. Look at that. On this little sabbatical that I went on, new construction is starting to increase. I haven't had really a chance to dig into the numbers, but you can tell new construction is picking up. Inventory is, continuing to drop.
Put it in perspective. You got a lot of people watching you right now, dude.
Oh,
Keith
great.
Smith is back. Keith Smith is back.
And
Scott Aaronworth in Virginia Beach. Hello.
We're going to be in Virginia Beach next week at a Keller Williams convention. Looking forward to
He's
do
the
that.
king of Virginia Beach.
Yeah.
Watches all the shows.
Good,
Scott,
good,
hello.
good. Well, we're staying at I can't remember which hotel, but I'll go ahead and have that for Friday. Maybe we'll connect and have a cocktail or something.
I think
down
Scott
there,
would
Virginia
probably
Beach.
love that.
So just for the heck of it this morning, because we like to talk numbers on the show, for the heck of it, I wanted to see what was the total volume of units sold in all of Carr's jurisdictions. So that is Albemarle, Fluvanna, Nelson, Greene, Louisa. Single family detached on it.
This is a sizzle reel waiting to happen.
oh.
Keep going.
Oh, great.
You're ready. You're ready. I know
Great,
you can do
great,
this.
great,
I know you can
great,
do this.
great,
Start it from the
great,
top, Keith
great.
Smith.
For
Start it from the
those
top.
who have not watched in a while, every time he says the word sizzle
He gets a
reel,
little stressed.
I get a little stressed.
He gets a little stressed.
Can you bring that bottle back
I
over
can bring
here?
that up. There's a full bar directly off me where some restaurateurs have come in here and says, this rivals the bar in our restaurant right here. But what were you going to say? Finish your thought
That
here.
would be a very small restaurant.
From there. There's very small ones there. Start from the top.
Yeah, so what I wanted to do, just for the heck of it, to check out numbers, where was our volume of sales this year to date, 2023, single family detached, no new construction, right? So this is SFD, single family detached, no new construction, 2023, from the January 1 till today. And I wanted to go back a bunch of years and see where we matched.
Okay.
Right? So we did 892 sales. There was 892 units sold. The last time we were that low was in 2015.
Oof.
So 2015, we were just right at 800. So it's a little off. It's close. 2016 was right at 935. So it's somewhere between 2015 and 2016 volume. And it's interesting. We have 7 days on market. 2015 was 43. Medium sales price was 442 this year. 2015, it was 270. So I went back every year from 3 to 15. And the one thing that's constant, every year the prices went up. 15 was 270, 16 was 283, 17 was 290, 315 and 18, 322 in 2019, 326 In 20, 399. So we just in 2021 we broached the $400,000 mark. Then 22 is 430, and this year to date is 422.
So he's saying this: the real estate and the car footprint is more expensive than it's ever been in the history of the car footprint, and the units available to purchase.
My
in the
spin's
car,
a little different.
Well, I mean that's basically where we're at. The real estate in car is the most expensive it's ever been in the history of car
for that specific type.
Right. I would maybe venture to say for all types. Right now, it's the most expensive it's ever been in Albemarle history for all types, especially with rates above close to 7. And then what he's also saying is the inventory available to purchase is so meager, we have not seen such meager levels since 2015. So you literally have a catalyst.
Between 15 and 16.
Between 15 and 16. You have the most expensive real estate in car history right now. You have inventory at 2015, 2016 levels right now. You have interest rates right around 7% right now. And you have how many Central Virginians that have locked in mortgages at 2.75, 3 points, 4 points, that probably are not going to give up that rate anytime soon. Those are your headwinds in Central Virginia real estate.
So my twist on it's a little bit different.
Please, I want to hear it.
You haven't said anything that is factually incorrect.
Correct. Go ahead.
All right, that's it. Are we getting fact checked?
No. It's a text message.
Is that the Bat Watch?
This is the Bat Watch. Go, Keith. Keith, it's your turn.
Okay, it's my turn. Is that what we're
to the
doing?
Bat Cave.
To the Bat Cave. Yeah, and I have some props coming for Friday, by the way.
Oh.
But I look at it differently.
Okay.
So on the appreciation column,
Please.
values are continuing to go up.
Okay.
You can say that it is the most expensive it's been since 2015, and that's factually correct. My point is that people are still buying homes, and homes are still appreciating year over year, because there's some misconceptions out there, and we hear this. I heard this on literally in the French West Indies on a beach, talking to a guy from Richmond, going, of course, right? This is what we do.
Mm-hmm.
We talk real estate. It is no matter where you are, you're always
such a great topic.
You're always talking. Yeah. You're always talking.
Real estate is almost like math. It's like the world's language.
Yeah. Well, it was interesting. This same
we
guy,
all need to live somewhere.
Well, it's interesting because this same guy that I had a conversation that was from Richmond made me think about the volume of units of sales versus the number of agents in 2022 versus 2015. And we're going to talk about that a little bit, because I think you're going to see a adjustment in the marketplace as far as agents go by this time next year, I think substantially. But
what are we talking?
I think we're going to be, if you read the articles and all the experts are saying 30%, I think each area is going to be a little bit more, a little bit less.
What's your prediction for car?
I think we're going to be somewhere between 30 and 40.
You think this time next year we're going to have 30 to 40% less realtors in car?
I'm already starting to see it.
This is a sizzle reel here.
I'm already starting to see it.
30 to 40% less realtors in the Charlottesville Albemarle Association of Realtors this time next year. Can CAR sustain itself as an entity if there's 40% less realtors in the organization?
It sustained itself.
It can sustain the debt service on the Hillsdale Conference Center?
That's a different story. But
that's a legit question.
Yeah,
if it loses 40% of its members, does it have the income to sustain, to cover the debt service on the Hillsdale Conference Center?
So I haven't been on the board in a year, so I'm not looking at the numbers, but I can tell you what I last was on it. The Hillsdale is starting to actually make money. It's producing enough revenue
to cover the monthly debt service,
to cover itself, and that's I haven't looked at the budgets in a year because I'm not on the board any longer.
Ask Lisa Herndon. That would be a good question for you.
But look, at the end of the day, they've got the right. I know this much. They got the right people in there. It is getting used. We're trying to use it for the Regional Housing Partnership, so it's getting used. I think it'll at least break even at the best case scenario. But
do CAR dues cover debt service for that project? Are they allocated to covering dues of that debt service of that project?
So you're asking me to remember something that I was. Yeah, but I just remembered I had for breakfast. That is not fair to remember how to go back that way. The bottom line, the question I'm trying to get to is CAR as an organization survived in 2015 with 795 sales. So it'll make adjustments, right? It'll make adjustments to budgets, yada, yada, yada. It'll do what any business would do, right? It's no different than your business, right? If you will start losing clients, you make adjustments in your expenses.
You pivot.
And you
Yeah.
pivot.
Yeah.
So they'll
You adapt.
They'll pivot, but as an industry, I think that's where we're going, and it's interesting because this is going, in my opinion, going to be a market. I think we say this about every market. We said this about COVID, and we nailed that one right, by the way. I think this is going to be a market that we've never seen before, right? Because if you go back to 2015, the days on market were 43. We're now at 7.
That's what I'm saying, man.
That's 100% right. So the inventory is shrinking. We've been talking about this all the time. The inventory is shrinking.
We're in bear market from inventory shrink.
Days on market have been pretty much flat since 2021, 6 to 7 days on market, right? On that end of it. Prices are increasing, but people are still buying. 892 people at 7%. Now, a percentage of it is cash, and we'd have to look at that, how much of that was cash and how much was that the different loan products on it. But folks are buying and selling, right? But we're going to see a reduction in industry. I'm not talking about business, the actual transaction, people, homes being bought and sold, but we're going to start seeing a lightning, like.
I mean, you basically just said you think this time next year you're going to have 40% less agents in
somewhere
car.
Between 30 to 40%.
There's 1,200 agents in car, roughly.
I think there's 1,000 that are actually agents. Just make the math simple.
Okay, so 1,000.
Yeah,
so you're telling me this time next year we're going to have 600 agents?
At least, yeah. I think it's a possibility. Look, there's a.
I mean, that conference center is
yeah, I'm not even. I'm putting that aside.
Okay.
Because you're conflating. Let me have another sip.
That was good.
That was a big word.
I would imagine dues would go to debt service to cover a new real estate construction project.
As long, look, I don't have the budget in front of me, so I can't speak to it right now. But you're conflating two different things, right? I'm talking about the industry as a whole and how this industry is going to go backwards. So if you've been in the business in 2015, you know what it's like to operate in a scenario where there's only 700 to 800, 900 units sold year to date, right? How you do business in 2023 at 892 versus, right, the largest one was 2021 at 1,346 sales. So I'm not smart enough to figure out what the math difference is off the top of my head and the percentage difference, but that's a substantial drop from 1346.
In
2021, there was 1,346 units sold versus 892. So somebody who's smart can
That's a huge delta. Let's just
figure
put it that way.
Figure out the math on that. 2022 was 1,178, and 2020 was 1,027. So it's interesting. 2020, 2019, and 2018 were all pretty darn close. 1,027, 1,119, another 1,144, and 18. So 20, 19, and 18 in volume stayed pretty much the same, right? But we're pretty, we're in 2015-16 world. We're not at 40 days on market. We're at 7, that's the point I'm trying to make.
What was the interest rate in 2015, 2016?
Probably 4%, 5%. Yeah. That's a great question.
So
somebody.
Wait, Carly, Dino, you watching now? Dino Russell, what was the interest rate 2015, 2016? He's in the game, Dino Russell. Carly, do you remember what the rate was then? And Carly Wagner, I'm going to get to these strong comments from you. She's got great comments right here. So
Am I in trouble?
No. She's offering perspective on inventory and buildable lots in Albemarle from an insider's perspective. Carly makes the shows better. Sincerely mean that, Carly. I've never met you, but you are very intelligent. You make the programs better. You're telling me the inventory is more expensive than ever.
So 2015, according to the Fred Economic Data Report, the 30-year fixed rate in the United States, the average was
4 and change?
Yeah, just right at 4.
Yeah, 4
378.
And now what, 7?
We're roughly at 7, yeah.
So we're 3 points higher. It's a hell of a delta. What's the median value increase from 15, 16 to now? You got that right in front of you.
Apologize.
The median value delta from 2015 to now. How have homes appreciated in
So 15
value?
was 270, now it's 442.
270 to 442.
So if we
And an interest rate delta of 3 points.
Yeah.
And a days on market delta, 2015-16 in the 40s, a DOM,
Yep.
to a DOM now of 5, 6, 7 days.
Yep. I don't think we've ever seen that math laid out that way.
You've been in real estate for 37 years?
I've never seen it.
Have you ever seen a dynamic like this?
No. It's normally, if you're down in these lower number of units sold, the 700, 800, 900 units at 40 days on market kind of makes sense, right? But to be down in this 900, 892, let's call it 900 to make life simple, is 7 days on market. It's pretty substantial.
Dino, thank you. He confirms, Dino Russell, quality dude right there. He confirms the rate you were talking about in 15, 16. So
yeah, so if you're on, what month is this? May? June?
We're June.
So
Halfway through the year, dude.
So June 16, in 2016, it was 3.54. So we were below 4 back in somewhere between.
You said 3.85. That's a guy in the game,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
The number you're talking right now.
Yeah, well, I'm looking at a chart where you slide. You can do it by day. But anyway, so it's somewhere sub 4, for lack of a better term. And now we're sub 7, not much, but just a little bit.
Flirting with
sub
7,
Yeah.
depending on your score. How do you manage this market from agent side?
Great, and that's what I've been thinking about for 2 weeks, to be frank with you. Because there's two equations here, right? We've been talking about the client side for quite some time, right? And this is developed into, you need a certain set of skills, to manage that. The ability. I'm jumping around a little bit on you, but I was on the phone with the agent that was helping the kids' house in Richmond. We're getting ready to close, just checking in how everything's going on their end of it. So it was actually how the market's going. Now, still in Richmond, she says, look, I just finally put one buyer under contract after 20 contracts. So it's very specific to where matters on that end of it. But the inventory is low. People aren't moving because of the reasons you've outlined on it. Values are going up. Money's a little bit expensive. But this frenetic pace, this up-tempo on buyers really hasn't changed. The question is, I think, is on the other side of the coin, is how is the industry going to react to this, right? How is the industry, how is the agents? Because if you came in 19, if you really came in somewhere between 20 and 21, right? You're used to 1,346 sales happening versus 800. And the pool of agents are still the same. At the moment, there's a few dropping. I know of a couple that have dropped out in the last week or two on that end of it because, when you start getting your quarterly dues and all this kind of
How much are we talking?
So just to put a key in the door.
To open a lockbox.
It's about between the car dues, the national dues, and MLS dues. Just figure $5,000. It's a little less.
$5,000 a year?
Just about $5,000 a year.
Okay. So $5,000 a year is what? How much do you have to make? Price of a home to get a $5,000 commission check?
You'd have to probably sell, just because you got other expenses other than that, you probably got to sell between 2 to 3 average priced homes.
2 to 3 $350,000 homes?
Yeah, because that $5,000 should be a small percentage of your actual expenses to be an agent on that end of it.
So you're saying for someone to cover their dues, which is $5,000
well, technically
a year,
you could say one house would cover the dues for the year, but then you've got other expenses, your fuel, how you're going to eat, right?
Marketing. Got to pay taxes
how to
on
pay
that
taxes and so forth and so on.
So you're saying 2 to 3 to cover the car expenses alone, the dues alone.
You got to do about 2 or 3 sales.
There's no doubt in my mind you're going to lose 40% of the agents then.
Oh, without
if
doubt.
you have to do 2 to 3 deals to cover the $5,000.
Well, why do just one just to pay the due? Why?
Yeah, why work?
Why do this?
You're not in the right business if you're just doing one to pay the dues.
Yeah. So again, you've got to have these certain number of transactions just to break even, and then you want to make money, right? So it's not all about breaking even, it's all about making money. And the average agent in the United States doesn't make much more than 40 grand, right? And that's gross commission. I think when they actually figure out how
way
much,
less, dude.
Once they really figure
Once
out how
the tax man.
Well, the tax man and their expenses and all this great stuff. And this is what we were talking about for a couple of days with the team down in Keller Williams, down in St. Martin, was, how do you grow your business? How do you do this? So those folks who kind of look at this thing as a business and trying to grow it and try to work on how you connect with people. We do this 3 times a week, right? So we're like out in the Facebook or social media sphere having this conversation. But real estate is a contact sport, right? And it's how you communicate with people at the kitchen table that's going to make a difference. And we've been talking about this for how many years we've been doing this? 4 years?
Yeah. What show is this?
Oh, I didn't even look. It's I bet
almost 500.
I believe we're
Real Talks.
I think we're really close to 500.
500 Real Talks, ladies and gentlemen.
I can't. You know what? I don't remember I got to look on. I can't remember.
That's a lot.
But it's close to 500.
That's a lot. That's a lot of paper trail for stuff we've been saying. Let me get to these stats.
And I hear it too. By the way.
I
heard it on the beach the other day about something. Some random guy I bumped into, actually said thank you. He used something. He was out in California. Something we said. Together, what you and I said, it helped him make a transaction happen.
That's
fantastic.
Said,
look, I work for referrals too, man.
All right, let me throw some stats here from Carly. So this was the stat we led the show with, shared with us by John Blair. I shared it with his permission. I literally asked people, can I share this before sharing it?
Sure.
Or if people say, please keep this anonymous and between us, I respect their anonymity. One of the ways I'm able to get the information I get out on this network is by being a man of my word. And when people tell me something, they know they can trust me. That's why I get the information I have for the shows we do. John says this. He said I could share it. If you look on the MLS right now, there are only 2 individual buildable lots available for sale that are under 1 acre in Albemarle County. That's extremely low in my experience. Carly, who's
Black Cat Road and Griffin Grove are those 2 lots, $59,000 and $200,000 respectively.
Black Cat Road in Keswick. That was the road where Tiger Fuel was trying to put a market on. I occasionally take that road when backtracking, when Pantops is busy to get into town. I live in the Keswick area. Carly says this, Jerry and Keefe, that's only one part of the story. Half-acre lots are typically served by public water sewer and cannot bear a well septic.
1,000% correct.
She also says, many of these small lots are owned by builders and or developers and will most likely have a spec home or direct contract with buyer for a home, or at least will not be an owner-financed home build.
1,000% correct.
Most truly custom home lots over half acre, still builders own many of these as well, but there are lots available for the custom builder that will purchase land and finance the build on their own. She also says, for reference, there are 38 less than half acre proposed detached homes available in the MLS right now. 16 proposed detached in Albemarle. To add again, there are 92 buildable lots, not limited to a half acre in Albemarle. Far more if you include agricultural lots, which primary residence is by right use. Of the 92 buildable lots, low cost is $70K, median is $312.
So if everything is spot on, 1,000% correct. That was kind of what I was alluding to, that, if you can technically, just to be technical, on a 1 acre lot with an engineered septic system, you actually could put a well and a septic on it. It requires some pretty specific soil and some hefty engineering expenses. It could be done. You'll probably spend more on that than you would on the land, lot to go ahead and get it done.
So that's why that's not done.
Yeah, it's super expensive, but it's interesting. So I'm in the Albemarle County and land, and I just did 2 to 10 acres because that's usually where the single-family detached lot, one-off builder, custom home kind of wants to go to. It can go larger than 10 acres, and if you take out the HOA, there's only one available that meets that requirement. If you add in,
where's that?
Oh, that's a great question. I just changed it. You didn't tell me that.
No, finish your other stat, then we'll go back to the other one.
Okay, got it. Hold on one second here. I'm a little slow.
No. Your first day back. Sun-kissed. Looking sharp.
So that's a friend of ours, a friend of the show, actually, that owns that lot. It's in Prophet Ridge.
John Kerber, Dominion Custom Homes, our client.
Yep. But to the point.
I should have known that. Love you, John.
Yeah. Well, but to the point is, John's going to build a house. John's going to build a house.
That's what he's doing.
Yeah. So that technically is not even available.
It's not.
If somebody wants to buy that, to have Jerry build a house.
And he does great work with Dominion Custom Homes.
Totally.
Build a house, lives there for 2 years, and sells it.
Well, we're working on with a client with him right now in Glenmore, and it's been a great experience. He's a pro. Totally love working with him. But that is one of the hard. I think what we've outlined here, one of the hardest things to find is if somebody picks up the phone and says, I need to find a lot because I want to build a custom home somewhere, that's going to be a harder find than trying to get one of these 892 single-family detached homes. If you want to go into a subdivision that's controlled by some of the major developers or builders, that's a lot easier to do. But if you're truly looking for a custom home and somewhere in some land somewhere, it's going to be hard to come by.
Do you see in this land predicament we're in?
We've always been in that land predicament.
Well, I mean, this is a serious predicament now. It's even tighter.
It's always been a little difficult.
Do you see a demand for the buy of existing real estate for tear down purposes because you strictly want the dirt? Are we at that point?
So I haven't talked about this in what's the 6 things, right? Right? Location, price, features, condition, timing, and who's on the other side matters, right? Location is going to matter on that. You're Lake Monticello, for instance, right? It's happening once or twice, but you're going to start seeing that increasing a little bit. Some of the homes that were built in the 70s, early 80s, they're going to buy them for whatever, tear them down and build something up. It becomes a math problem at that point.
Go ahead.
I don't think a lot of our jurisdictions are there yet. You might see this in the city once the upzoning. Damn it, you made me say it. The zoning rewrite
becomes reality.
You might see somebody come in and buy something, demolishing it, and then putting 4 units up or something like that.
I think we can even talk about one. Jude, I believe you have it. We were going to talk about it on yesterday's show. The house that's on 5th Street currently, Bill Howard has the listing, and he's listed this house. Could you put the photos from the listing on screen? You got them yesterday. This home, Keith, is not even.
What's the address?
It's it was in the rundown, the PTIs from yesterday. I'll give you the address right now. The address is, viewers and listeners, call this up as well, 1025 5th Street Southwest. Everybody take this address, 1025 5th Street Southwest, put it into Google. I prefer the Realtor app. I'm now put it in Google. I'm opening it up in the Realtor app. Bill, who's good at his job.
Bill's excellent at his job.
He specializes in commercial.
Yeah, Bill.
He's been doing this for 50 years.
I've been in this business for 37 years, and Bill was here for like decades before that.
Oh, yeah, I think Bill's 50 plus years in the game. So here's what Bill did. He has a piece of property. He does not even have photos of the inside of the home on the listing. Are you showing the pictures?
Yeah, because
it's a dump. It's a dump. But Bill is a smart guy.
Yeah.
Bill said, look at how he's marketing the property.
Yeah.
He says, this is a single family home in the city of Charlottesville on a major entrance corridor close to UVA.
On 5th Street.
The house can be used as a resident or torn down, literally says torn down. And he says the zoning allows for 7 units with the approved site plan or 15 plus units with a special use permit. And the asking price is $379. Look, ladies and gentlemen, this is a teardown. You're selling dirt for $379.
How many days that's been on the market?
Yeah, it's been on forever.
Yeah.
That would indicate it's overpriced.
No, not necessarily. That's not overpriced. If you can go ahead and buy, that's not overpriced.
What do you got, a DOM of 200? You got a DOM of 246 on this.
Yeah, that's not what's. Again, I'd have to do some homework on this, and I could do some for Friday's show.
Okay.
Because you're stuck with me for the next 3 shows.
I can't wait.
It's only the 3 of us.
I'm happy.
The 3 of us.
Okay. Did you put those photos on screen, J-Dubs?
Do you want them on again?
And yeah,
Yeah, so
people are
what's
asking
going?
for 'em.
Yeah, so what's going on with that? There's other development issues going on there that makes it difficult to go ahead and do. So let's talk about how this works.
Please,
right?
please.
So you and I say, hey, we're going to go ahead and buy that. Well, we're going to go buy that, and I'm going to do a feasibility study with Bill. I say, okay, I need 60 days, 90 days, or whatever, and we're going to go in there, start tearing it apart and figuring out what I can do and what I can't do. Even though the zoning says by right you can do 7, then you got to flip the book to the subdivision side, right, or to the actual site plan side of it, and you may not be able to actually get an entrance in off of that. You may not. I'm taking stabs out here without looking at it, but there's other reasons for it, because if you do the math, right, 7 divided by 380, I can't do that in my head.
It checks out on paper.
It checks out on the numbers, but then you got to look at okay, what does it take to make it happen? Is there ENS erosion control problems? Is there stormwater problems, right? Is there soil condition?
Does the fact that it's backing up to Prospect Avenue impact this purchase?
No, not at all. That math does not. That is
The fact that Prospect Avenue is directly behind does not impact this purchase.
that's not. There is some development issues that's going on with that. That's just making this far too expensive for it to do that. It's in the right location.
But I guess the reason I bring this up and why I wanted to bring it up with you, here's legitimately a piece of dirt in the city of Charlottesville.
Sure.
This piece of dirt in the city of Charlottesville, Judah Wickower, has development opportunity associated with it.
It's a tear down.
We know it's a total tear down. $379,000 for a third acre.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised it has not moved.
Well, what I'm telling you is
There's a X factor we don't know about.
somebody has done. Believe me, I know this world.
You know
pretty
well. Yeah.
Somebody has done the math has done the research on this, and there's probably some reasons. But look, there's a case study. That's actually not a bad idea. There's a case study. I'm liking my own ideas. Look at that. There's a case study.
Are you talking to yourself again?
I'm talking to myself again.
On the show?
It's the only one who listens to me.
I
really.
listen to you.
Yeah.
I listen to you.
Yeah, you do.
I
listen
learn
to
from
me.
you.
Yeah.
500 shows.
Liza really listens to me.
I've had a PhD in real estate, 500 shows, you.
Yeah.
That's a scary proposition.
Yeah, it is a scary thought. But I'll do a little case study for Friday on that.
Okay.
All right. I'll reach out to a couple of people and look at it. I'll and figure out from a site plan perspective what's the requirements. I just think there's a lot of other factors other than math that is making this sit there for that long.
Okay, I'll throw another case study to you. You like case studies. God, I'm looking at Lake Monticello right now. You know how many active listings are in Lake Monticello?
Don't even go there. It's under 12, right?
Lake Monticello has 4,300 homes, plus or minus in it. Here's how many active listings are in a 4,300 home neighborhood. 7 Clark Court is 1. 538 Jefferson Drive is 2. 462 Jefferson Drive is 3. 11 Pleasant View Terrace is 4. 251 Jefferson Drive, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You have 10, 11, 12, 13. And one of them's a proposed detach. So you have 12, Keith.
Yeah.
3 proposed detach. And if there's still proposed detaches, and this neighborhood's been around forever, these lots ain't so great. You got 9 active listings in Lake Monticello. 9.
That number has been consistent for a long time, somewhere between the high single digits to the low double digits. So in other words, from 8 to 9 to 15. And that's been consistent pretty much for the last couple of years on that end of it. And it's just not going to get better. I posted something when I was on vacation, and I actually got a bunch of negative feedback on it, which was surprising.
Which one?
The
Lake Monticello neighborhood?
The USDA, yeah. And I was shocked that I got some negative pushback on that, and which is just befuddled me.
Why? Why the negative feedback?
Certain folks that push back do not want low to middle income people moving into the neighborhood.
That's the old NIMBYs. The old NIMBYs.
And
so they don't want that loan product available because they know that loan product caters to...
I almost wasn't going to bring this up because I just didn't want to get on my soapbox on this. but that's just factually incorrect, and folks not wanting to take the time to read the facts. Because in my post, so the background on it, guys, is USDA has a rural loan. It's a really great loan product. It's really designed for frontline service workers. It's really designed for cops, firemen, teachers, so forth and so on. Those are the folks that fit into this low to moderate income category. So when people hear those words, they think something else, and it's factually incorrect. So actually in my post, I did the link on what it is. So what happens is we lose that, then there's a tool that the cops, the firemen, the teachers, the nurses
No longer have.
To buy at Lake Monticello, which is going to make it even harder to buy a home. Now, it's a complicated loan product. It's a federally backed program, so usually they are. I got about 3 or 4. I very rarely get negative pushback from what we do, but I got that, and that really rocked my world.
From current residents of the lake.
That's exactly right.
That's NIMBYism.
Yeah. Well, I think they just don't understand what low to moderate income, and I think this is a branding problem that the government has, right? Because this is the reason why I don't use the word affordable housing anymore. I use the word housing affordability, right? It just sounds different. But I think that's it. It was and the sad thing about Facebook and this stuff, it's done behind this cloak.
Yeah.
And I responded to them via DM. I said, look, I'm back in a couple of days. Love to talk to you about it. But they won't reach out. They don't want to learn. They don't want to be educated.
Well, because they prefer to comment behind keyboards where they have keyboard muscles.
Yeah, they don't.
As opposed to a face-to-face where you actually have to make human connection.
It's just a phone call. They don't. And it's a shame. I think we're going to lose it, frankly, which is not going to be a good thing. By the way, Waynesboro and Stanton is also on the block. And so where are the 3 places?
Waynesboro, Stanton, Lake Monticello, for folks looking into the game, first-time home buyers, entry-level buyers to build some generational wealth. They're literally cannibalizing the opportunity for people to get an opportunity to buy a house. That's exactly what Keith Smith was going to say.
You get a star today.
I spent a lot of time with you.
They get a star.
I learned from you. It's truly my pleasure to do
this.
this.
So that's what got my thing triggered.
That would piss me off.
Yeah.
Especially with you being a stakeholder in that community.
Well, it's just a lack of understanding.
But that's how that community gentrifies very quickly, too.
Yeah.
It's already gentrified.
If there's a loan product that goes away, that's not a good thing.
Speaking of Lake Monticello...
And by the way, the date for public comment has expired. It was yesterday. So whatever decision is going to get made, it's going to get made.
We're talking about a neighborhood you know well. I mean, you developed a lot of Lake Monticello. I'm looking at 7 Clark Court. It's got an asking price of $237,000.
Okay.
When does a piece of property like this start thinking tear down for land? Or is that not even close at that price point?
It depends on the where, and you're a step ahead of me. I need to go ahead and pull up the current Lake Monticello stuff.
There's 1 or 2 homes in the lake that have long DOMs.
Yeah, it depends on the where, brother. So, it's just hang on 1 second, and we're going to take new construction out of this stuff, right?
Yeah, take new construction out. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Are you're searching by lake specifically there?
Yeah.
Okay. I got the MLS up here.
Well, I'm going to be able to dig a little in the back end of it. So which one are you talking about?
I mean, I'm looking at 7 Clark Court.
Yeah.
1,500 square feet, $237 ask.
Got it. So here's the problem with that. It's the location. Okay. If this was on the waterfront or had a water view,
that price, the dirt's justified by that price.
Yeah, I mean, I actually know this house and know this location well. It's in a great location. It's sort of Lake Monticello, but it's only 1 day on market. Are we talking about the same one, 7 Clark Street?
Yeah, we're talking 7 Clark Street.
Yeah.
There's another one that's got longer in the tooth, but I just brought that up because of the price of $237.
Yeah. So somebody will go in and kind of spruce that up a little bit, and that probably won't last to the end of this week.
So you're saying that's a flip, or is that a first-time home buyer?
Well, I haven't First-time home buyer for sure.
This is a first-time home buyer?
Yeah, for sure.
You got 3 bedrooms, you got 2 baths and 1,500 square feet.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, if the actual, I haven't been in the home, but if the actual home looks as good as the photos, that is ready to go. That thing will be under contract by Friday, if not already, on it. And yeah, it's in great condition. But you said you had a second one on Clark Street?
Well, we've talked about, you give me the address. There was a unit that's been off and on, a piece of a housing. A
but
house
it's sold.
It went under, it sold?
Oh, that's sold before I left.
What was the DOM on that one?
It was like in the hundreds,
Yeah.
200, 300.
And it was
sold.
super beat up.
Well,
Who bought that? Investor? It had to be an investor.
It hasn't closed yet, so I can't really
Okay.
tell on that stuff. But look, we talked about this coming out of the end of the year, right? And do you remember the conversation we had about keep an eye on DOMs, right? And you remember the end of the year, January-ish or so, we were having, particularly in Lake Monticello, having a lot of units, you know, in the 80s and the 90 days on market. Well, take a look at the 12 that are on the market right now. The median days on market is 12. The highest is 76.
Which one is that?
That's actually, technically, that's an active with a kick-out, so technically that's under contract.
Okay.
Right? So I'm going to probably take that one out. The next closest one is 49, which is 3 Pine Knoll Circle.
Okay.
That's an interesting one because that is a waterfront lot, if
Okay.
I'm not mistaken. On that. Are we having fun yet?
No, I'm having tremendous fun. 3 Pine Knoll Circle.
Yeah, so that's
got
a
a
water-
695K ask.
So that's a waterfront lot. It has a microscopic little bit of waterfront to it, but it's a waterfront lot. That one will either do one or two things. It'll either be renovated, which at that price point it probably will be,
Yeah.
updated, or if prices increase so much and that doesn't move, that could be a tear down. But it has about 50 feet of water.
It looks like it has its own dock.
Oh yeah, it has its own dock. Yeah, sure.
That's legit.
Yeah. But it's the way it's shaped, the pie shape. It's pie shaped to the thing. It's not like the one that's across the street that has hundreds of feet of bulkhead and waterfront. But yeah,
This is an interesting link that Carly shared from the USDA Economic
Carly.
Research website. She says, researchers and others who analyze conditions in rural America most often study conditions in non-metropolitan areas. Counties are the standard building block for collecting economic data and for conducting research to track and explain regional population and economic trends. Some of the key criteria for that loan product: open countryside, rural towns, urban areas with populations ranging from 2,500 to 50,000.
Yeah.
She's indicating that Lake Monticello does not meet criteria number 3 there.
So that's why I said I think we're going to lose it.
Yeah, I mean, she's pretty straight up saying you guys are going to lose it.
I want folks to go ahead and do it. The magic number, and I know a little bit about this because I've actually communicated with these folks at USDA, the magic number is about 10,000. When you have like a community that is around 10,000 and
10,000 people?
Yeah, and we're there, it tends to slide off the list. And if you read, because in my post, I actually posted the...
That's what she's saying.
I posted the notice from USDA. There's some jurisdictions that automatically get removed off as soon as they hit certain thresholds, as she outlined. Look, I hope we don't lose it, but we're getting off. I would be surprised if we keep it.
Johnny Ornalis, ¿qué pasa, amigo?
Hey, Johnny.
Johnny just shared the show. We love you, Johnny
I was
Ornalis.
thinking of you as I was eating some good food.
We have a ton of folks interacting with us right now on Twitter.
I just want to real quickly before you go to Twitter.
Sure.
Go back to this days on market thing.
Yeah.
If you remember, I said keep an eye on days on market, and once we start weeding out of these 100 days, remember there was a bunch of high 80s and 100 days, and so now if you take a look at Lake Monticello, things that are active, if you take out that 40, there's that 49 outlier that we just talked about, you're somewhere around 12 to 18 days on market, actives right now. So, and you see a lot of zeros and a lot of ones. So you're going to start seeing those numbers, days on markets, tighten to much smaller numbers on it, and these outliers are just going to kind of weed through the market.
She also says she understands that removing this loan product hurts the affordability of Lake Monticello, but she says, look, it doesn't meet the criteria, and she's shocked that it was in place for this long. That loan product at the lake.
There's not an argument there for me. It's just I'm looking at it from the
An affordability standpoint.
Affordability,
Yeah.
it's going to make it far more difficult to go ahead and do that on it. But yeah, you're 100% right. I think what happened is it got, and this is just conjecture on my part, it got put in when we moved there, it was only 300-400 houses out of 4,500, right? But it's interesting, part of the pushback from the people that are fighting on it, they don't like this. There was two venues. One, I don't want them in my neighborhood. The other one is, yes, we are rural, right? Fluvanna County is a rural county, and one could argue, and I think that's what's happening here, one could argue, once Lake Monticello got approved and start filling out, the ruralness of it, at least in that area of the county,
Oh, it's not rural anymore.
it's not rural anymore.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a fact.
I used to, when we were building houses over there, I used to get what I call lake-itis, right? Because everything I needed was there. I had Food Lion, I had restaurants, I had dry cleaners.
So you never left?
Well, we never left because we were always working there. We were fortunate to do that. But yeah, very interesting. But days on market is something to track.
How are the electeds you're talking to, the elected officials responding to some of this? Are they in the loop?
Those are the ones that call, because I personally sent it to each one of them. And the certain numbers are, we got to make sure this stays this way so our teachers and so forth and so on can afford it. And certain members, okay, we're good with it leaving. So it's kind of split down the middle.
Okay. This question's come in for you. Does he expect the boom to head to Buckingham now? Waynesboro's already gotten too expensive.
Yeah.
Jonathan, watching in the Augusta County area.
Yeah, I think the answer to that is still no. I think Buckingham County is a unique animal unto itself. I think, and again, I haven't dug into a lot of numbers in the last couple of weeks. Been doing kind of bigger picture thinking and planning for the last 2 weeks. I think if you take a deep dive, you'll find Buckingham County is reduced a little bit. I know Nelson County is a little bit. I think it's just a little too far outside of the rubber band for it. I may be wrong. I haven't took a deep dive into it yet, but my suspicion is you're going to find the opposite of what we looked at here, is that units of sales are going down and values going down.
Stephanie Borman leaves this comment. To Jerry's point, there's been multiple homes purchased in Bel Air where the buyers literally tore down the house and built something from scratch.
I actually helped 2 clients do that. But these are
That's
location.
Ultra wealthy.
Exactly right.
Ivy Road.
These are location driven. They want to be there. They don't like the house. They have the cash to do it. Buy it, tear it down, build new. 99. The 2 I done was part of over there was all cash. It was just cash.
They buy the house to tear it down.
Yeah, they want the location.
Buy the house, get the land, tear it down, build something new.
But this is not commonplace.
No, it's
right?
the anomaly.
This is very very rarely done.
But I mean, it happens.
It does happen. Yeah.
It happens. More comments coming in. Guys, you guys have responding favorably to Keith Smith being back in the house.
It's the tan.
And that makes me very happy. Neil Williamson, I see you.
Hey, Neil. Neil, thank you for covering, man.
Neil, you did a hell of a job. Nicholas Erpy, I see you. Welcome to the program. Viewers and listeners, we love when you watch the show. Vanessa, hello. Welcome to the program. Any questions for him, put them live in the feed.
Is that Vanessa Parkhill?
That is
Hey,
Vanessa
Vanessa, how
Parkhill.
are
She's
you?
one of our favorites. All right, let's get to this comment.
She had some very kind comments for our wedding anniversary. Thank you.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, she's a classy person.
Oh, Queen of Earlysville.
Yep.
Class act, Vanessa Parkhill.
Class
Beth has this question. Beth Harris. Is the expectation that this will continue well into the future, or does Keith have an expectation that these conditions may change sometime soon?
So I'm assuming the conditions we're talking about is inventory staying light, prices going up, days on market staying low.
I would think that's what she said.
Yeah, that is for the unless there's something that impacts us all, or some God forbid horrible thing. This is a new reality. That's the reason why I said the other side of the coin on the professionals that are in it, the real estate professionals that are in it, they need to brush off their 2015 skills to stay competitive and be able to help people in this market going forward. So to make a long story short, on the agent's coin, yes, be prepared. This is going to be this way for a while, a long time. On the client side, you're in the same boat too.
You got DJ Moberly watching the program. Hey, DJ, I got a stat for you. DJ's come on the show. DJ's a custom home builder in Culpeper County.
Oh, yeah. Hey, DJ.
DJ, undoubtedly, the expensive nature of Charlottesville and Albemarle County is driving momentum to Culpeper. He's a fantastic custom home builder, DJ.
Very much so.
And his wife, I'll throw this to you, his wife, Angela. DJ, this is the stat we led the show with. Please offer your perspective on this as a custom home builder. This is from friend of the program, John Blair, DJ. He said, if you look on the MLS right now, there are only 2 individual buildable lots available for sale that are under 1 acre in Albemarle County. DJ, any take you want to offer on that, I will relay it live on air. And I'm also curious about your opinion on this real estate market and the direction it may be heading. He's interacting with you on your Facebook page right now.
Thank you. Well, I'm trying to look up Buckingham numbers for our Buckingham question.
Multiple people have said in the feed here, if you're saying that the working class has to head to Buckingham County, then all you're doing is keeping the working class working class. That's an indication of the commute and the cost and the drive, I would say. I respect that comment, Stephen.
Yeah, totally. So that's the reason why I dedicate so much of my volunteer time to housing affordability. We're working on, I've been honored to ask to help Albemarle County through the Regional Housing Partnership to work on some developer incentives so we can try to at least turn the tide a little bit on that. But just to Buckingham County, I was right. Buckingham County went backwards, right? 2023, year to date, single family detached, no new construction. I have to caveat, our MLS doesn't take a deep dive into Buckingham.
There's 3 in Buckingham, right?
Yeah. So it's carved up.
Farmville.
But what's interesting for this conversation, what we do touch in Buckingham is the side that's closer to Scottsville, right? So it's the side that's closer to Charlottesville. So single family detached, no new construction. Year to date, 23 units sold. Median sales price was $210,000. 2022 was $35,000, $247,000. So we went backwards in Buckingham. And if you remember, about in the middle of the pandemic of 2020, I had somebody ask me if I was interested in buying an investment rental property in Buckingham.
Yeah.
And I said no, because I anticipated this. So you're going to find a softening in Buckingham as far as value goes. The question becomes, do I buy at 210 now, and am I going to go below 210 over time, or is 210 the bottom and it'll start going up? I don't know the answer to that. My suspicion is it's going to go down. I think you're going to see
Why?
School,
just because of the drive?
It's the drive.
The infrastructure?
The schools, the infrastructure.
But folks would rather pay $2,300 a month for a 1-bedroom apartment than own something in Buckingham?
I get it. I don't disagree with you.
It just makes no economic sense.
But this is just the market. So there's this rubber band we've been talking about that's now pear-shaped. And Buckingham is just outside of that rubber band. Now, is that a good investment? For me, from a perspective,
let's just do basic math for those that are hating on Buckingham. Let's say you buy
hating or hitting.
Hating. There's a lot of people. You could get a pretty.
I'm not hating on.
No, Buckingham. You're not hating at all.
I'm just giving you the facts.
Right. I would say you could probably buy a nice starter home for $180K in Buckingham right now.
Oh yeah. Sure.
Would you agree with that?
I'm looking at them right now.
Okay.
Yeah, totally.
$180,000 for a starter home in Buckingham. Let's say you put, what would someone do? $180,000. Would they put $5,000 down?
So what you're looking for, and we don't have it now, we'll have it for Friday.
Okay.
There's an actual calculator that you can put out. If I'm driving from Buckingham to UVA, what
Is your actual mortgage payment when you
what-
factor in wear and
there's
tear
an
of your
actual,
car?
somebody can Google it. There's an actual calculator somebody created. You put in the dollar price of the gas, maintenance, time. It just whole factors in on it. Because I use that calculator regularly to say, okay, look, time out. If we're buying something for $200,000, just picking numbers, in Buckingham County, but you now have to drive an hour and a half,
Depending on where you are.
depending on what part of Buckingham you are on that end of it. But
At $3.30 a gallon gas,
it's a whole formula that's
Yeah.
calculated to it.
here's your true monthly mortgage payment.
Versus
If you,
a $300,000 home that's 20 minutes away. Not that you could find one, but 20 minutes away. So there's a math calculator to that. There's also a quality of life
I
thing.
get that.
No, I'm talking about spending time with the family.
Yeah, I get that.
You're behind the windshield.
Yeah.
For all.
You're also
all-
building equity. Instead of paying somebody else's mortgage renting at
Well, you're
2,300 a
building
clip.
equity, but I don't know if necessarily if you're building appreciation.
Oh, man. You fixed your overhead.
I'm doing this for the sake of it.
I know. I respect that. I respect that. I'm glad to have you back.
You know I believe in those things.
Yeah, I know you do. Here, throw
and
this to you.
And you know I believe in ownership over rental.
100%. I know you do.
On that end.
You get a house in
I'm
Buckingham.
just being, you've taught me a long time, 490 shows ago, to be honest and forthright
I respect that.
and
Yeah.
transparent. I do not think you're going to get an appreciation in value over time.
But your rent won't increase 5%, 10% every year.
Totally won't.
You fixed your overhead. I'll throw the scenario to
Well,
you.
let me add one other
Sure.
point to that. What's the biggest problem right now with individuals and loans? Credit card debt.
Yeah, yeah.
I own something. There's going to be some value in that. God forbid I've overextended myself on a credit card. I can go and refinance my house or get a cash out on a call Scott up and go and do it. I can't do that if I'm renting.
Jamie Turner
So there's
says
a lot
this.
of value to it.
Jamie, I get it. Jamie Turner says this. Have you guys ever been to Buckingham? It does not surprise me that values would drop.
Yeah,
I get that, Jamie. I want to propose a scenario, though.
I'm not going to throw shade on.
I'm not throwing shade.
on that, but I'm looking at the math end of it. It's not versus. I mean, we looked at it, and but it's 210 versus 442. 210 versus 442. 442 is Albemarle County year to date. We've got 210 in Buckingham County.
Let me throw this to you, okay? I'll just throw a scenario to the viewers and listeners. Can you buy a house that's decent for $180K in Buckingham? Yeah, you're good. Yeah, so you could buy 180, right? Buckingham County. When someone's buying a first-time home for $180,000 in Buckingham County,
You can use your USDA loan for sure there.
USDA loan. What are you putting? $5K down or no money down?
No. It's a true USDA is a true zero down.
Okay.
And what's even better about that is if you have Uncle Bill that wants to give you some money for a down payment, they don't care where the down payment comes from. Conventional, you've got to, there's conditions and requirements about it. It's really a great loan product, particularly for that buyer.
Yeah, $180,000 house, 30-year fixed, interest rate, what do we say, 6.75. I'm using the mortgage calculator here. The monthly payment on a $180,000 house with no money down with a 6.75% interest rate in Buckingham County is $1,167.
Yeah.
So the buyer says, okay, I have a monthly payment of $1,167 in Buckingham on something I own versus a rental payment of $2,300 in Charlottesville next to my employer. That's a 2x delta.
No.
I get driving sucks and commuting to and from work sucks, but a 2x delta in monthly savings for you to fix your overhead and potentially gain some equity and cross your fingers for some appreciation seems like a no-brainer to me.
It does. Look.
But people continue to pay $2,300 a month in rent because they want to live in Charlottesville.
And where's that going?
It's only going up. My rent ain't going down at my rentals, 5% every year.
And that's reasonable.
Oh, dude, the guy next to me
That's
at
reasonable.
the same place, year over year rate, Judah, same place, unit next to me, I found this out last week. Listen to this. Literally the same unit as mine in the Villas, managing it himself, where I'm using Suzanne Real, Ally Property
Yep.
Management.
Yep.
Suzanne Real and Ally are fantastic. His tenants had their lease come up for renewal. They told him they wanted to renew. This is a landlord that has 2 or 3 units only. This guy's not wealthy. He's just trying to pay his bills. He told them, guys, I have to raise your rent 15% year over year. That's literally what they said.
Yeah, and if you go anything you
And you know what they did?
They paid it.
They sucked it up and stayed.
Yeah, sure.
Because they had no other option.
Yeah, and that's the reason I work as hard as I do on housing affordability, to kind of help that stuff a little bit. But you're 100% right. Now,
That is a $300 monthly increase in rent.
sure.
$3,600 a year.
And I'm pretty sure their income didn't go up.
No, $300?
Yeah. So I get your point, and I'm doing this for the sake of a talk show, right? And you know this. I believe in this in my soul. It's always better to try to get into something. It may not be the perfect house. It may not be the perfect location. It may not, but get in the game. I'm just being factual. If you are looking to get, double-digit, even low single-digit increases in Buckingham County, that may be a bit difficult to do. Now, you'll also be paying yourself.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Maybe your mindset changes. It's not about appreciation. It's about fixing your overhead and paying yourself.
That's exactly right. So if I buy that home,
Even if you break even on the sale, you're coming out ahead.
and I take that $300 a month and I pay extra to my mortgage, at the very minimum, I'm building a
piggy bank.
You're building a piggy. You're paying yourself.
Right.
And that's the reason why every first-time home buyer, I have to sit down with them before we do this. And look, buy one less of these, right? That are this latte I'm holding in my hand, or 2 less, or whatever, and put it in a little pot and pay every month a little extra to your principal because you're paying yourself.
Dude,
And we're rental. We're rental owners, right? We
my first place I bought,
Yep.
I tell the story all the time, is the Villas. Out of UVA, working a job. Did I want to live in a
No.
apartment complex that was converted to a condo
No.
that used to be the sketchy part of town? When I moved in, when people came to my house, there literally was like dozens of folks loitering in the parking lot, and folks were
They were
concerned.
your friends, though.
Some of them. May have been me loitering.
I'm pretty sure it was
Right.
you.
And
I
they're
didn't want
saying-
to say that. I
My-
get the friends, but yeah.
My
you're
mom
right.
said, "Is this safe? Did I want that? No, but I had no choice."
Yeah.
And I lived there 7 years.
Well, no, you did have a choice.
The choice was renting.
That's right. You chose not to do that.
I chose not to do it.
Yeah.
Now
Because
it's a
you saw-
rental. Do the
you
same
s-
thing.
You saw the value to it, right? And that's it. And look, and that's
We should sacrifice in our 20s. We're supposed to.
Yeah. So you don't sacrifice when you're in your 60s.
We're not, exactly.
Yeah, I get it.
It's called vision.
So one of the things that, and again, one of these guys I bumped in on the beach having a conversation, because that's who we are on it. One of the things they were thanking us is about some of the stuff that we're doing is helping people, because a lot of this is this person that paid the extra $300 a month. A lot of it is fear, like, oh my God, right?
There was fear. Paralysis of analysis or lack of options.
Correct, but maybe, hopefully, we can help folks, and hopefully we can communicate that it's generally not as hopeless. There are options out there. So to your point, the 300. So what did that monthly payment turn out to be now? What does the rent turned out to be now?
Dude, it's over 2.
It's like $2,300.
20, a little. He went from 18 and change. This is literally my unit next to it.
Yeah, no,
it's like
yeah.
21.
Yeah.
And I said to him, I'm like, how did you do that? Why did you do this? He goes,
I had to.
yeah.
Yeah.
He said, the HVAC broke.
Yeah.
I have all this other stuff going on.
Yeah.
It's this or lose the place.
Yeah.
That's what he said to me.
Yeah. Well,
He's not even rolling in it.
Yeah. And that's the other issue, is some folks that may have gotten into the rental market and not building up a reserve and stuff like that, and ultimately the tenant is paying for that, or
The dude's getting the
or
extra.
the good news is it gets on the market. I mean, a right play would have been is to offer these people
a chance to buy
a
it.
chance to buy it.
What, would you do it in a seller fi scenario?
Well, it depends my suspicion is, if he doesn't have enough money to pay for or he's struggling for paying his HVAC, he's probably got a loan on it.
Oh, he definitely has a loan on it. Yeah, 100% has a loan on it.
Yeah. Which is an interesting thing. When Scott comes back next week, we have to talk about assumable mortgages. That's making a bit of a comeback on that end of stuff. But look, I offer to buy it. Say, look, I'll sell it to you for X amount of dollars. Let me get out from underneath it. He gets-
These folks are paying $2,200
so your point is, I can go to Buckingham County for the same house,
for a bigger house.
For a bigger
For
house.
a yard.
For a yard.
For 2x the
for
house.
2x the house,
A single family detached versus a condo.
for half the mortgage.
Half
roughly.
the mortgage.
For half the mortgage
Yeah.
on it.
And then you don't have a landlord holding your family show. You don't have a landlord having
family
leverage.
jewels.
Yeah,
Let's go.
family jewels.
Yeah.
You don't have a landlord grabbing your family jewels.
And if you can swing to 23 or 22 and you're paying
you
12,
clearly can do this, and then you save another $1,200.
you stay in there for a year or two or three.
And then
You got to
throw-
stay over 2 because you got a capital gains.
Capital gains.
But you stay over 2.
I
on
just
that,
don't
you
get
suck-
why they don't do this.
They
It's basic math.
I got it. They may not have a trusted advisor in their life. They may not have somebody who's willing to sit down at the kitchen table and go, look, let's do the math, folks, right? Let's do what we just did live. And let's do the math, folks, and let's figure out what we can do. This may not be the perfect scenario for you, and you're going to see a lot of that. And people watch too much of this
CNBC. It's on the studio
this
right now.
bloody thing
Yeah,
that's on the wall.
CNBC.
There. You know what I love the most about the 2 weeks I
You didn't
was-
watch the news?
No, I spent 2 weeks of great time with my wife for 37 years.
Okay.
That's number one,
Okay.
and I'm just damn lucky to be able to say that. But I didn't watch any news for 2 weeks, and it's amazing how much clarity you get by shutting that damn thing off.
He's pointing to CNBC.
I'm
We
sorry.
have a TV in the studio that is offset, that is constantly on
And
CNBC.
they-
Because I'm a financial news junkie.
But well, you're a news junkie, period.
I'm a
right?
news junkie, period.
But we do this for an hour and how many minutes?
90 minutes.
90 minutes, three
times a week,
and all
yeah.
this stuff. All that is I got 24 hours I got to fill in and talking.
Oh, yeah.
And they create stuff just to do it.
Yeah.
But if you don't watch that and you actually just focus on the facts, on what's on the facts on the ground, and do the math, it's pretty much a no-brainer. You're just going to have to suck it up for a couple of years.
Todd Raft, a real estate investor and the
Hey,
owner
Todd.
of Blue Toad Hard Cider, says, "How are the schools in Buckingham County, guys? The
Yeah,
quality
so-
of life." I mean, he's
So technically, under my license, I can't really be
I
talking
can't
about
talk
that.
about schools. I
but-
can. The schools aren't great, but this particular couple that's renting doesn't have kids.
Yeah.
They don't have kids. They're paying almost $2,300 a month for a place in Charlottesville, and they don't have children. So the school is not a dynamic here. And you know what? You take a landlord who gets a taste of a 15% raise year over year. What do you think that landlord's going to get hungry to do the following year?
Yeah, well, then the market just won't absorb. There's a point where the market,
Of course.
the market won't absorb that. But it's the same thing with the rental. Why do you think? There's a couple of reasons. The reason why they sucked it up and paid it is because they don't have trusted advisors in their lives. Probably, I'm making an
It was
assumption.
probably 120 days before the lease was over. They didn't want to move.
Yeah.
Moving sucks. They had to look for a place. They didn't want to scramble, and they said, "We're just going to take it."
And the landlord said exactly right. You need to make up your mind now, otherwise I'm going to put it on the market and lease it to somebody else.
Yeah.
And it panic sets in, fear sets in. Where am I going to live? How am I going to do all this stuff? I get all that. But 6 months ago, they weren't under that scenario. And 6 months ago, they should have been looking and saying, look, what's out there as far as
So is
options
this
go.
Darwinism? Is this survival of the fittest? Is this the way it goes for people that
Yeah.
aren't active, aren't proactive?
Yeah, but look,
I know the statement lacks empathy, but that's life.
yeah, well, you have far too much emotional intelligence for that to be,
Sake of a talk show.
I know you well enough to
Sake
say
of a
that,
talk show.
to say that. But the reality of it is this is nothing new, right? It's just insanely high right now, right? And it's tight. It's 2015. We're in 2015-16 in volume. That's where we're at. Got to be thinking like 2015 in volume. Prices are going to go up, except for, unfortunately, in Buckingham. I think they're going to, at best case scenario, stay flat, may go down a little bit. But to your point, if I take that extra $1,000 a month and pay it to my principal on my mortgage, I'm paying myself after 2 or 4 years. Even if I sell it for what I bought it, I'm walking away with cash.
Chunk of money.
I'm walking away with cash.
A chunk.
And walking away.
Jamie Turner says,
And not only that, you build credit worthiness, your credit history, yada yada yada. But if you can get a USD loan in that zero down, your credit score doesn't have to be all that good. It's a great program. It's designed for specifically what we're talking about, is getting folks in the start a home scenario.
look at what Jamie said, and Jamie's a smart guy. He says, in the scenario you're talking about with Buckingham County, it makes sense to sacrifice for something better and to buy in Buckingham. And he says that's why we live in Culpeper and not DC.
Yeah.
There you go.
It's just different numbers.
Right.
That's all it is. Scenarios the same, just different numbers.
I would encourage everyone to just consider.
That's why I don't live in Bel Air.
I would consider it.
Not that I would do it.
I would encourage anyone to reach out to Keith Smith and let him literally walk through the economics of this with you.
Or any real estate professional, but yes.
Walk through the economics with somebody that knows what they're doing.
Well, I wrote a couple of notes down. I think we got a couple of case studies here. We might want to take a harder look at, maybe we'll see if Scott can help us out next Wednesday to kind of do hey, if I'm paying $2,200 or $2,300 worth of rent, how much house can I buy with that?
That's a great case study.
That kind of thing.
A one-bedroom in Charlottesville City is $2,300 a month.
That's a one-bedroom?
No. That's in the Villas, which was a 3-bedroom, 2-bath.
Yeah.
Charlottesville City, a one-bedroom is $2,300. 3-bedroom, 2-bath at the Villas is $2,300 now.
That's just crazy.
Mine is at $1,917, I think.
Yeah.
And the one literally next to mine is $2,300.
Yeah, that's just...
It's $400 difference.
It's a lack of trusted advisor, a lack of not necessarily... I'm sure they're super intelligent
When he
people.
told me this, my mouth went agape.
Yeah. Well, you picked up the
No,
phone.
I did not. I did not call Suzanne Real.
I'm
I'd rather just keep the tenant in there.
Well, it's because you're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
You're doing the
And
right
you don't
thing.
lose a payment.
Well, you're also doing the right thing.
Doing the right thing. A lot of folks go chase the paper for the tenants, and then they go a month or two of vacancy,
Well,
and then they're like, oh, I got the paper I wanted in month 3.
well.
But then, dude, you'll never make up month 1 and 2 of vacancy.
Well, we keep our one rental we have way below market.
And you keep it full.
Because I've been around the block a few times. And what goes around typically comes around.
Amen, brother.
And I can see in this particular case, this person had to because he had improvement.
he was stuck.
Yeah,
He's not wealthy.
Well,
he didn't manage his finances well. A lot of people think being a 1 or 2 unit landlord is easy. Dude, it's brutal.
Yeah.
If you don't get the economy...
I'm going to change that. It's brutal unless you get Allied running it.
Allied Property Management.
Because I'll tell you what, we forget we have our rental unit because
sure,
she manages
100%. I would very much. She's mine.
Yeah, so we got the phone call. Talk about this. Our HVAC unit went out on that. Well, what we do with that unit is whatever additional money we make per month, we keep it in a pot. I said, well, we got enough money for a new HVAC and go change it out. Right? I don't have to increase rent. I don't have to do anything. We just had a pot of cash in there because the couple of years we've owned it, we just kept the money in the account for mechanicals and whatever it was. Right?
The way you're supposed to do it.
Yeah, because we weren't counting on the positive revenue cash flow on it. We just kept it in an account. But Susan said, "Look, we got to do this." I said, "Go. That's got to do what you got to do."
Todd, when we were Dinks, the acronym double income, no kids, we made the choice to live on the water and pay out the ASS in Virginia Beach in the Kings Grant neighborhood. Live life before the baby. Some of this is that. To each their own.
Todd, I got to tell you,
to each their own.
I got the bit.
For 7 years, I lived in an area that I was not exactly super proud to live in for 7 years, especially early as the area was turning. It literally went from the...
I disagree with you. I think you were proud. You were proud to be an owner. You owned something.
I was proud to be an owner. I was concerned often the first year and change going home at night, walking from my car to the front door.
Sure.
It legitimately was the sketchy area of the place.
Yeah, sure.
Okay? But this is what you got to do. Do what you got to do.
And it worked.
It worked.
And so
and I see Buckingham being that same thing.
Again?
That was 2000, I want to say 2006, 2007 I bought that.
Oh, yeah. Right before the
Yeah.
Yeah.
Worst possible time to buy anything.
Yeah, yeah.
I bought it in phase one. They had 5 phases. They said you're going to have 5 phases of equity. That never happened.
Sure.
I bought it for $182. Legitimately, that unit dropped to like $130,000 in value.
Sure.
I'm panicking. And then the only smart decision I made was not selling it, was holding it. Now that same unit's like $250.
So back to this couple that's paying $2,300. You used the key word. People, and any service folks and Marines out there listening, they understand this. You know, when you hit the panic button, that's when bad stuff happens.
100%.
So and it's hard. It's hard.
You just
to control,
wait it out.
It's hard to control panic. On it, when we lost everything we had, $17 million. What's the one thing we didn't do? We didn't panic. I was pissed. It hurt, but we didn't panic. We just went back to the basics, and we're sitting here having a conversation with you after 2 weeks in the Caribbean.
Today's show is dynamite.
Oh God, sorry about that,
dude. It was our pleasure.
11:37. Yeah, well. I love these shows when we walk in. I got a couple of notes, and we let the community, let the feed take over.
So we're going to do the case study on that 5th Street listing Friday?
If you want to, yeah, sure.
I would love to do it.
What we're gonna.
How is a piece of land that can be chopped up into potentially 15 units a tear down?
I thought it was
7? 7, special use 15. With the special use permit up to 15.
Yeah, we don't want to do an SUP.
All right, so 7 by, because then you have to go in front of council.
Yeah,
all right, so 7 by right.
7 by right.
Yeah, 7 by right. Asking price is $379.
Yep, got it.
And it's been on the market for 200 plus days, so I would imagine there's some negotiation potential there.
Yeah, I think the purchase price is at the right number. To be honest with you, it's everything else that we got to figure out. So I'll take a look at that for Friday and go ahead and do that. And then on next Wednesday we'll do we'll ask Scott to do an analysis on this Buckingham. But as you know, I'm an ownership guy. And even if you buy something that is going to stay flat or maybe go down a little bit, you're still putting money in your pocket. You control your pocket instead of somebody else controlling your pocket.
Keith,
I thought that was pretty.
That was pretty good.
That was pretty good.
That was good.
I thought that was pretty good.
Mine went from the villas 182 to $135,000.
Yeah, I get that. Mm-hmm.
I lost $50,000 in appreciation in
I
equity.
went from 17 million to 0.
Exactly.
I win.
Right. You definitely win. But what happens? You hold and it
sure.
rebounds.
Sure, totally, yeah.
Yeah.
And what is that worth now?
230 to
still own
250.
that, right?
Still own it.
Yeah,
230 to 250?
Yeah. So there you go.
It responds, yeah.
Well, that's the reason why we talk about this all the time. This 22, 23 year, I think we're up to 23 years now, running spreadsheet I do. The average appreciation, again, this is the car footprint, somewhere between 3 to 6%, depending on the year. So if you get in it and hang in it long enough,
there it is.
You're always going to do well. Buckingham, too. If you get into Buckingham and hang into it, I personally just did not want to own a rental out in Buckingham County because to me that was just a little too far out.
Yeah.
Just from a stopping in and saying hi kind of thing.
Love you, man.
Love you, too. I missed you, man.
Same.
Missed you.
This is the easy show, dude. All the guests that filled in for you, easy. I legitimately just looked at the clock. It was 11:37.
So thank you to Nikki. Thank you to Scott.
Quentin.
Thank you to Quentin Beckham. And thank you to Neil.
Jeremy Rowe.
Oh, yeah. Well, those were guests. The folks that sat in my seat and handled this.
Taylor.
It made it very easy for me to go wander and
darn it.
I know that. I know you didn't want to hear that. Well, wait till we get off air. You're going to not like it either.
There's more?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there's more. Cool. That's good. I like that. Real Talk with Keith Smith.
And we just found out there's more.
There's more. He's an A-plus guy, dude. His morals and his moral compass as best as anyone I know. If you're looking for somebody to help get you to the finish line in this game we call real estate, I cannot speak more highly of Keith and Yona. Keith and Yona Smith. Judah Wickhauer's in that category as well. This show is Real Talk with Keith Smith, presented by Yes Realty Partners, Keller Williams Alliance, Ross Mortgage. And if you go to Real Talk with Keith Smith and click the Partners tab, you'll see trusted advisors like Interstate Service Company, a home's best friend,
Pearl.
And so many, many more, like Pearl Certification. I love this show. I love this guy. I love that guy. The I Love Seville show is up in 46 minutes.
Love that shirt.
Take care, everyone. Thank you kindly.
Is that a doggy on the front?
So it's a Roback.
Oh.
It's a Roback. Take care. Roback was a brand founded at UVA.
I knew that, actually.